This meeting is being recorded.
There it goes. All right, man. So here we are today with a guy who I've had on the show. It seems like forever ago now at this point. Holy cow. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's been at least over a year and a half, maybe. But he's now the head coach for the Junior Islanders, and that is one Mr. Jack Greig. Jack, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing great, Alec. Thanks for having me again.
Of course, man. I appreciate. Well, we had the lovely trials and tribulations of Zoom, audio and video and everything like that. And then my computer was updating, so gotta love it. It's my first interview I've done in probably like a month and a half, 2 months now. And of course, all this stuff has to go with it naturally. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, I didn't help much anyway, So, but thanks for being patient. Thanks for being patient. It's us older guys, right? So.
Well, hey, like I said, this Zoom stuff is still kind of new to me. Like, I just started uploading to YouTube not that long ago. So, it's a learning curve, we'll say the least. But, so you're actually the head coach of the Junior Islanders. And I had you kind of explain it to me because I before we got going here, for the folks listening, I said, it's funny doing all these interviews. I actually know probably more about Canadian junior teams than I do in the US, with Junior A, Junior B, Major Junior out there. In Canada, but so down here, you're actually the head coach of the Junior Islanders, which is a junior team here in the U.S.
Yes, it's we're PL Junior Islanders. We are I don't say sponsored by the New York Islanders, but we are they're behind us. We have a youth organization that fields teams from mite to midget, but we have two junior teams that play in the USPHL. It's a league, junior league here in the United States. It's all across the whole country from Maine all the way to California. So I coach the premier Junior Islanders, and we have a what's called NCDC. That's a tier 2. That's the next league up. Premier is tier 3. So basically, we get our players out of U18 and we recruit off Long Island, on Long Island. And we try to put the kids up through the system from 18 to Premier to NCDC and on to college.
Right on, man. Well, before we get into some of kind of like your alumni and the kids who got going before, like to name one, Jimmy Mazza, who fought LeBlanc, PL3, came in from for the what was it, Trois-Rivières up in the ECHL. So, you had the hockey school before you actually got the head coaching job. It was it Jack Greig hockey, right? That's what it was?
Yeah, Tech hockey. Yeah. I still have it. It's my business where I teach on the side, where I run skill development clinics, lessons, summer camps. I'm still doing that. That's starting to ramp up again for me. That our season just ended. So yeah, I'm got a lot going on, a lot of things in the fire right now.
Yeah, holy shit, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. I'm actually at my table before I got a board here with your players I'm trying to sign back, potential guys I'm signing for next year. I'm working on putting some spring teams together. Our winter team, obviously our premier team, I'm working on, and I got summer camps info coming out soon. So it's been busy, all good. So I'm looking forward to the spring and summer here now.
For sure. And that's one thing I think people don't quite understand sometimes with coaching or GM jobs. It's almost like you're constantly working. It's not just, the season's over. Okay, we'll look back at it. I'll stop and then I'll get back to it in a couple months. Like as soon as the season's over, you're already looking to make moves for players. You're looking to see who you can sign, where to go, everything like that, man. It's constantly. So I don't know how you do it.
It's a lot. Like, I got, kids emailing me. I'm emailing kids. I'm having phone calls. It was a lot. Even the team this year, coming from when I played pro and junior, we had trainers, equipment managers. I was kind of all in one. I would set the locker room up for the guys. I had the jerseys out, the equipment set up, the tape out. I didn't show up at any skates or anything like that. But I was just a lot of prepping the meetings. I set up the teams would come in. I have to set them up. We had a hockey TV that played out. We had announcers for our games. I had to make sure they were set up. I have to rosters and who scratched, and it was a lot of work. I thought I was gonna for me, the easiest part of it was like just being on the bench during the game, because that's what came natural to me. That was the easiest part, actually, be able to coach in a game, whether, you're up or you're behind, or it's back and forth, whatever. Just all the other stuff that go along with it, setting up your trips, your recruiting, your calls, you follow up with players, and it starts younger now. Like, these kids this process starts way younger than it did years ago. So, and these kids are out there, obviously, with the social media and YouTube. A lot of these kids are out there with a lot of stuff. So it helps a lot, but also hurts, because usually everybody knows who everybody is by now. So
right.
At these ages. So.
No, it's funny, man, because, of course, I always, give myself shit because I'm a terrible hockey player. I didn't start playing until I was maybe 22 or whatever. But even just the other day, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, me and my buddy went to a skate and shoot out at Hertz Arena. And yeah, you just see these kids, and they're like 8, 9 years old, and they're hauling so much ass, and they would make us look just silly out there. It is insane how early I know back in the day, kid to the kid, you're raised on the pond and you play pond hockey, but now it's like today with today's parents and everything, it's like as soon as a kid can walk, you're already going to clinics, everything like that. Not even just learning how to skate. It's like clinics, everything like that. So it's just it's insane to me how I guess how good they get so young, but also like how much they're already doing it so young. Because I remember I was in like a hockey 101 class. I was like 5 years old, and that was about as far as it went. And then I went to like Pee Wee for a year, and then we moved away from the rink. So after that, I never played again. But now it's like hockey 101. Okay, straight to clinics. It's nuts. Yeah,
no, they have the path, and it's like for the rink I was at, Superior, for 20 years, it was like learn to skate, public sessions, and then it was Friday night clinic, Mondays, mini mites we called it, little cross ice games, and then from there we started, this kid's ready for travel, this kid's needs a little more time, and the way we went, all these kids that are doing great things in hockey, and the kids I'm coaching now at the junior level, this is where it starts. That's the grassroots. That's where they got to get that base. They got to get that reps in. They got to play and develop. And so all levels are important. Just I try to explain that to the families and stuff like that. It's that it is a process, but those early years are important to get your skills in.
Right. And well, I got to ask you, I'm always curious about this with, a guy like yourself in your playing career, you were, in that enforcer, the tough guy, grinder role. Do you ever have kids that you played with, or kids that you've coached, and they're just like, they might do research and like, Coach, what the hell were you doing when you played? Because, you look it up.
Yeah.
Over 200 penalty minutes in Dayton,
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of that, but somebody that we just brought out, Jimmy Mazza. I had Jimmy at 5 years old too. He still works for me. I can remember coming off, teaching him one time, and he's like, Coach, he's like, he said a name to me, and I was like, how do you know that name? He's like, I found an article on the Hockey News about you getting suspended and fighting this guy and stuff like that. And so I got a lot of that. Good. I spoke to you when I was on the podcast originally. I talked about that the brawl that we had in Utica when I was like in the penalty box trying to get up in the stands and hopefully getting called up. And we played there this year. Utica has a junior team in our Premier League, and we played there. So I kind of I had a group text with the players, and I sent out the article about me going in the stands and stuff like that. And I got in the locker room. I didn't really have to say much to get the guys fired up. They're like, "That's awesome, Coach." Whatever. But yeah, I've got that over the years. Like some of the dads, even recently. I mean, it happened for years, but even recently, I posted a hockey card, and it was about the 45 penalty minutes I had in the one game in Colonial League for Dayton versus Brantford. And I fought Mike Bajorny and Jesse Austin, and I was in the penalty box fighting. And a lot of the kids and dads are like, "How'd you get 45 penalty minutes in one game?" And I was like explaining it to them, like, got a 10, then I got a 5, then I got another 5, then before the penalty box, they threw me out. Next thing you know, 45 minutes later, I led the league. I think I led all pro hockey that year, actually, in all the leagues in North America for the most penalty minutes in one game. So,
That's great, man.
Yeah.
So, how old are the kids that you're coaching? That you said, I believe you said they were 18, right?
Yeah. So Yeah, the kids I had kids from 16 to 20. So they were
Gotcha.
born 2004 to 2001 this year. So
That makes me
yeah,
feel
yeah, yeah, 16 to 20 they were. So yeah.
So in the league that you guys are in, is there fighting allowed? Or a
In
lot of
our
guys?
league, our league is 5. It's a game, but no, that's it. You get thrown out of that game, and you can play the next game.
No, it's not bad.
So it's not bad at all. We actually had a few this year. Like I was pretty
I was
proud of the
just
guys.
Yeah, you posted it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you posted a couple of
I might have
videos.
tagged you. Yeah, I think I posted a few. Might have tagged you. We had a couple of good ones this year. Again, it was like I I try to tell the guys play physical. But when the games got out of control, I was, I kind of, you caught a little bit because you are thrown out of the game, and you're as a coach. It's crazy as a coach because I grew up in that era. I love that part of the game. I did it for a living, and it helped my life, helped my career. But I was like, what do I do here? And I was like, you know what? Guys, take care of business here. We need to take care of business here. We need to stick up for ourselves. And one of the guys said to me, he goes, Coach, I want to go out and fight this guy. He's been doing stuff all game. I said, you sure? And he's like, yeah. I said, okay. And I was proud the kid went out and fought. And I didn't want to be the coach that tapped the guy. You respected that when you played because you kind of knew what you had to do. But also a lot of guys, you didn't appreciate it because you wanted to kind of do it on your own and stuff. But there were a few coaches that did that. And some coaches you kind of just knew you knew when you knew the situation. So, but yeah, we had a couple fights this year. We had a couple brawls. Guys stuck up for each other. I think it maybe didn't look good at the time, some of the brawls or whatever. But obviously, I think it brought the team together. The guys actually loved it, and sticking up for each other. And I actually, went over it. Like I grabbed the guys before one of the games. I was showing them some stuff because I knew there might be some fights that game. I was okay. Like, if you has our league, like guys can wear half shield, a full mask. So I was like, make sure if he's got a full mask on, you want to, keep your glove on for a second, but you want to be able to try to get his helmet off and show him a couple of tricks. And so, I didn't want them going in, not ready. So.
No, I think that's important. And, today's game has changed so much from, even when I grew up watching to when you played. It's changed drastically from that, but I still think it's important that kids and even players, not even just kids. Like I know there was an article that came out, and Steve Martinson, legendary coach, he coaches Allen, brought in Yablonski when Yablonski was kind of wheeling around with Idaho, just to bring him in and give the guys pointers because it's going out of obviously fighting is on its way out, or it's it's at a minimum. It's still a little bit more rough in the ECHL, but I think it's important because some of these guys go up in the leagues and they've never fought before. And I'm not saying that you got to train a guy to become the next Bob Probert, but you got to know how to defend yourself. So I do think that's still important, even in today's game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, like I said, I grabbed I grabbed guys this year at times. When I saw aware of the path that was going to happen in that game or the next game against that team. And I'm proud of the guys. Like our guys stood up for themselves this year, and I'm very proud. I don't. I said, don't start it. Be a physical. Play hard, play rough, play tough, but don't start it at this level anyway. But don't make sure you finish it. And some guys took care. Some guys did good. So
no, for sure. That's how it should be. I think.
Yeah.
So some of the guys that you've coached and have gone pro, of course, we brought up Jimmy Mazza, and I think you said the other one was when I first posted a fight. I think I was in Iowa at the time. I think it was why can't I remember? I remember his last name, Lohan, because he's a cousin of Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. Lindsay's Lohan. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Kevin. Yeah. Kevin, kid who grew up here. He played for us at the Royals back in the day. Great family. He was one of a late bloomer kid. Again, he played his, played out west in Canada for junior. Went to Michigan. I think he finished up at BC, and he's been in Orlando now for several years. Big kid. Greg said, great kid, great family. But yeah, I'm if you told me he's a great story with that kid. If you at maybe like 10 or 12, if you'd say he's, had a great Division I career and playing pro in the American League and East Coast, like probably guys wouldn't have thought that about him, but he ended up carving out a nice little career for himself. He's a big kid. Sorry, he dropped the gloves a few times, and like you said, he's his first cousin is Lindsay Lohan, so he probably had to have a couple of fights over the years because of that. I'm sure some of
I'm sure.
guys, yeah.
Yeah. So do you ever have guys come back to you like like the Jimmy Mazas or the Lohans and maybe ask you for pointers on fighting at all? Or like, do they call you up and be like, hey, I'm playing this team, they're kind of physical. You have any tips for me at all?
Yeah, no, I with Jimmy, I remember when he was back playing in the USHL, I think 2012, 2013, he was always he's a big physical kid. He ended up coming out, having a couple fights early in the year, and he did well. And he called me one day. It was towards the late in the year, and he said, "Coach," he's like, I got pulled in after morning skate today, and I was the coach wants me to fight tonight." And I think that was the first time he was ever in that situation. So I can remember having a conversation with him that day about just do what you got to do, get it done early in the game, stuff like that. I remember telling him, not even recently, maybe something with we got to work on your lefts a little bit. He's pretty good with he's been throwing a lot of rights. We got to work on your lefts a little bit, but yeah, for sure. With Jimmy, he's a kid that, like I was said earlier, like he was a kid, like even when he was like 15, 16, he would ask me about the pros and what it was like. So he kind of was dialed in at an early age of what he wanted to do. He was a pretty mature kid at early age. He was helping me coach, and I could, it was funny. I was like, when he fought LeBlanc in the East Coast, who was
right.
I said, what happened? Like, you didn't know who he was? He's like, Jack, he's like, I didn't read the game notes before. Usually, like when you play, you come in for your game, even back when I played, there was this game notes, that the guys in the front office would lay out for you, like who you're playing, how all the league stats, most everything, right? And you would look at on the front would be their roster and their games and penalty minutes, and you kind of would know, but every once in a while you check, maybe there's a new guy playing with some penalty minutes, or somebody got called up or sent down. So he said, he goes, I didn't read the game notes that night. And maybe because the game's changed so much, you don't always look, because you don't know who's in the other lineup anymore. But I said, well, good for you, because LeBlanc, I guess, checked the guy on his team, took him out pretty good, and he was the first guy there. And that's kind of Jimmy's role this year with the team. As well, he obviously wants to, put it to the points, but he's been played tough for them. He's been a rock back there for them, and he's had some fights and sticking up for the guys. He's a big, he's big. His dad was a New York City police officer, so retired Jim Senior. So he's been a pro cop and pro military guy, and so I mean, he the night that they wear their military jerseys, he had a fight and he went off, and he was getting the crowd going and stuff like that. So Jimmy gets it. I hope that, he's had a rough 2 years with the COVID, with the coast getting shut down, and a lot of the teams were shut down. And he had some injuries he had to come back from, but he's doing well. He likes it up there in Adirondack, and I hope things keep going well from up there. So.
Yeah, for sure. Adirondack seems like a pretty tough team from what I can tell, from me following the coast this year. And yeah, Mazza, he handled himself pretty well against PL3.
Yeah.
He did very well.
Yeah.
That's
brought him up the right way.
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because, you, like you said, with today's hockey, you almost don't kind of expect a guy like that to come in. That's no disrespect to PL3, but like an NHL veteran, and he did it for years. He fought in the LNH for Christ's sakes. So it's it was funny. And I had no clue that he even came in for a game until I saw I think somebody posted, I think it might have been the Three Rivers Twitter page saying, oh yeah, LeBlanc got in a fight. I was like, is that the same LeBlanc I'm thinking of? Like, holy shit. It's was able to post
he actually, I mean, I think he wrote somewhere too. He's like, good job to the kid Mazza for fighting me, somewhere like maybe on his Facebook or something. Someone forwarded me something, and so it was, it's good for Jimmy to fight a guy like that, and get a little bit of press for it. So
yeah, for sure. I gotta give a shout out to PL3 because he shared the video that I posted, so it gets more clicks that way, because he was like, it was cool getting in a fight in my one game back or whatever. So yeah, I think I know what Facebook post you're talking about. So that was pretty funny.
For sure.
So who were some of the other kids, and not necessarily fighters, but who were some other kids that went on to be pro after your coaching?
Yeah, I mean, when I got back on, it was like 2001 when I got back to Long Island. And at the time, in those first few years, I was working at teaching here locally and coaching. We had some guys start getting drafted to the NHL. Eric Nystrom, Komisarek, Hughes, and so I mean, remember sitting, thinking, and I saw some of the older teams. Guys were starting to go off to play in the USHL and North American League, and some guys. So I remember as a young coach, thinking, hey, that would be great if I was able to have some guys be able to do that eventually one day. And so I kind of just dove into worked hard. I like what I did. I started with I worked with different age levels back then, but the first team I took was a Mike team. Believe it or not, they were like 6 years old. They were like the 95, 94 birth dates on that way back then. So I kind of saw the whole process grow. So I kind of went with that group for a few years. I was able to add Pat LaFontaine's son. Pat's actually, a Hall of Famer, played for the Rangers, Islanders, and Sabres. He came on and started coaching me. His son Daniel played for me. So we started kind of this team. We kept taking his team. We were going Boston and out west, Chicago, and up in Canada. And we were like winning games, playing the best teams out there. So I think it was probably like all of a sudden around 2012, where a lot of the kids that we were coaching at the time or had been coaching started getting some attention. The first one, I guess, that jumps off the page was Sonny Milano. Yeah, Sonny. Remember, I was at the national championships in 2012. The Royals here, Long Island Royals, and we ended up winning the national championship that year. It's U16. I can remember Sonny was there playing for Cleveland Barons, and I was spending some time with his dad, and I had scouts and guys I knew that I played with in the minors that were scouting and coaching in the USHL, and coming over to me and be like, hey, can you give me an interview with that guy? How do you know him? And I'm like, it's Frank, it's Sonny's dad. And like, no, that kid's he's on a path, that kid. I said, okay. And Sonny was the first one. He went, I had him for 8 years. He ended up going to the national development team and played in Plymouth in the OHL. And then he's played in Columbus. Was 16th overall in 2014. That was a pretty cool moment. I was at the draft in Philadelphia when he went in the first round. Having a kid that you coach for 8 years, his family, Caroline and Frank, and knowing them so long. And, we got to the hotel before the draft, spent some time with Sonny and his family. And then watch him go in the first round to Columbus was, pretty cool. I think that was a moment where I was like, wow, all this years of coaching and something like that happens. Like that's where their career kind of now starts again for them. But it was pretty exciting. So Sonny went in the first round of Columbus. That was my first guy to go. And he went on to have some years in Columbus, and obviously now he's in Anaheim having a good go in Anaheim right now. He was part of that. He scored the goal with the Zegras alley-oop, Michigan.
Like alley-oop, yeah.
Yeah, he flipped the puck to Sonny, and Sonny knocked it in. So I'll tell you this about Sonny. Like now I had him for 8 years. He was a player that now you see where he's got like in the NHL and how well he's done. And you see him as a kid. He was actually working on his craft, perfecting his craft as a kid. In practice, he would come down the ice with the puck and go wide, come back to the middle. He would flip the puck on his stick over to the defenseman and then skate around the defenseman, get it, and he'd go in and score a goal. And then you'd kind of like in practice, you'd go to him on the line and say, Sonny, that was pretty cool, but I mean, like, that might not work in a game. And he's looking up at you like, oh yeah, like, but
Right.
he was perfecting his craft. Like he was doing things on the ice that he just didn't start doing this stuff when he got older. He did it his whole career. And guys, that you talk about levels of games, he was a kid that, was working on that stuff at a young age, doing some different things, special things. And you kind of see now where, you turn the TV on, he makes that play with Zegras. He scored between his legs on Ben Bishop last season, NHL player of the week. So, it's pretty cool to see it kind of come full circle for him. And, good kid.
Absolutely, man. Well, so moving away from coaching a little bit. I met up with a couple guys out in Nashville. I think you might've seen me with
Goose.
I didn't get a picture with everybody else after, but a couple other guys were out there, and another one I got to ask you about, and I probably asked you about him in the first interview we had, but I got to meet all, and I've been trying to get this bastard on the damn podcast, and I went up with him. I said, Phil, you know who this is? And of course he's looking at me like, who the hell is this kid? And I was like, it's Alec with Five for Fighting. I've DM'd you so many times. You need to come on the fucking podcast.
Yeah.
And Goose giving him shit. He's like, you need to go on the podcast with him, blah, blah, blah. But, and so that was one of your teammates with Huntsville. Yeah. Do you have any Phil Daigle stories for us?
Oh, my God. Geez. Yeah, the little general. They called him the little general. We actually traded. He's like, we traded for him at that year. We got him he was playing in Jacksonville that year, and we had a bench clearing brawl with Jacksonville that year, and I think he was one of the guys that were like kind of started it, and he was just that perfect like third line guy who can he was a pain in the ass to play against. Could get underneath the other team's skin, and he'd drop the gloves and fight. Oh geez, some of the stories I probably, I don't know if I could say on here with him, but he was a big part of I think he played in Huntsville for several years. He still lives there. I think he has some car dealerships, used car dealerships. I think the Channel Cats, before they went to the Havoc, they retired his number there. So, but Dagsy was, the little general. They said the guys. He was a lot of energy for them. Could kind of get the other team off their game, and again, he was a guy that he could, every once in a while, would get those big goals too. So,
right.
Yeah, so the Dagsy was, and we see him every year I see him we've been off for a couple of years, COVID, but I'll see him at the Huntsville April 1st and 2nd this year. We have the Legends of Huntsville Hockey charity game, alumni game for autism. So Dagsy, I'll catch up with Dagsy then.
Yeah, it's funny. I felt bad because I couldn't see. We had so many people there with us because it was my wife and I, both sets of our parents, and then a bunch of other coworkers and stuff that we work with in our industry. And so it was just like herding cats because everybody wanted to bar hop. So I felt bad. And of course, we were going to sit down and talk about a bunch of shit. I was like, Goose was like, we'll sit down and get some old CHL stories going. I was like, hell yeah. So I was like, we'll get a table here. Right when they got there, the whole place basically went from a bar and some live music to a fucking nightclub. And so everything was like, I can't even get any stories out. I felt bad.
Yeah.
So I definitely got to get a rain check on that and get some stories out of those guys. I would love to get them down for a like a round table interview. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those guys played together for a while there together. There'd be some good stories for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So
was Gibby there? Was Gibby there? John Gibson? Did you meet Gibby?
I think so. There was like I said, I think there was 3 or 4 of them there, and then by the time they got there, the music was so fucking loud.
Yeah,
like we were like screaming over each other basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was it was him, it was Daggle, Goose, and I think it was Todd Doherty there.
Did you guys like plan to be hey, were you guys messing? I'm in Nashville. You were just there and we're like, holy shit, I think that's the same.
No, so
they go, hey, that's fucking Alec over there.
Nobody would probably recognize my dumbass. No, so Mike had messaged me a while back asking if I was going to the Nashville game because I guess they bought tickets, and it was funny enough. It was like a couple days after we bought ours, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna be there. He's like, oh, we got to meet up. So I said, okay. So originally it was Goose there first, then all the other guys came afterwards. But that was, like I said, that was when the place almost like turned into a nightclub. So we were like, what the hell's going on? But yeah, no, it was a good time. Like I said, I gotta get them on again, or at least probably get Goose on again. And like I said, try to get a round table. So that'd be a lot of fun.
That's good stories.
Yeah, for sure. And I was looking on YouTube and I still have not found any more footage of your fights. And I don't know if I asked you this in the first interview, because like I said, it was so damn long ago. Do you have any fight tapes of like, your career at all?
You know what? I had, there used to be a lot more on there, and I guess the page got taken down. Whoever had the page took it down. And so the fights are down, but I have some DVDs around here. I should probably try to get that somehow uploaded, but I used to have more on there, and whoever the page went down. So but yeah, no, I have just a couple on there with Holiday and stuff. So I do have more. I just got to get them up somehow. So I guess,
if you send those to me, I could probably I'll play the mule here, but if you send those to me, I can probably send those up to Darren at Fourth Line Voice, and I'll make him do all the work for us. I'll just be the runner for
it. I'll do that. I have like old. Well, what happened was I when I played, I had at the end of the year I went in and when I played, it was like the VHS stuff, right? Like that was they were you know what I mean? In the 90s it was VHS. So at the end of the year, I was able to go in and grab some of them, and I had a bunch, and then I sent I put them in DVD, and I sent them out. Some people wanted them. I sent it out, and they were up, and then some got taken down, and but there's a few on there right now. But I'll do that. I would love to get some of those back up. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. We gotta get some Jack Greig footage out there.
Yeah,
I'll probably pop them in and watch them before I send them to Darren. I'll be greedy.
Watch
it first.
There's a few of them I have. Like I think I post a couple of them I have from just taping the TV or whatever. Like that's from the DVD. I've actually videoed some of them and sent them out. I posted a couple on. But as far as that, I can send that over, no problem.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much covers it, man. This is cool. I like hearing the, I talked with Kevin Kaminsky a while ago, and seeing these kind of the fourth liners, the tough guys kind of turn to coaching, and it's very cool to see that. I know you said you guys won 9 out of your last 10 games. And you've got all these alumni that you've coached who are in the NHL, ECHL. Yeah. So clearly you're doing something right. I know a lot of people put that mark on players like, oh, what does he know? He just fought or whatever. And Campbell's and the Damian Coxes of the hockey news say that stuff. So it's really cool to see you doing well. And I'm glad it, because this is your first year being head coach for the Islanders, correct?
Yes, first year. Moved up to junior. Absolutely. I got another guy, Robert Mascher-Simone. He's at BU right now. He's drafted in the second round by the Red Wings. It's Steve Ruggiero, get drafted by Anaheim. Matt Coronados did very well this year at Harvard. He played for me. He's at Harvard. Mid first round pick to Calgary. And then we have, Nick Hutchison, the former player. He's in Manitoba right now in the American League. It's a lot. it's, I'm very fortunate. When like I said, during my end of my career, I wanted to coach after. I had a passion for the game, and I was very lucky. Like by playing at those, like I didn't play in the NHL, but playing in all those pro leagues and being in American League camps, and in the leagues that I played in, like 8 or 9 of my coaches were former NHL players, and those guys were guys that were coached by the Scotty Bowmans and the Mike Keenans, and the list goes on and on. So the guys I had coaching me through my junior, Steve Jensen was my junior coach, played Olympics and NHL. So, having these, being coached by those guys is unbelievable. The knowledge and the game, not just the drills, but just the in game and just getting to know the guys and to be coached by those guys. I took all that and I learned when I got back home to Long Island. There was some good coaches at the rink when I got home. Guys that were good team coaches, game coaches, skills coaches, and you take all that in, all your experiences, what you liked, what the guys that coached you that played at high levels, NHL, and you kind of develop your own your own thing and your own systems and your own beliefs, and you go from there, and that's kind of what I stick to. And like I said earlier, like the game, I love to be in the game, and the strategy and the back and forth, is still keeps me involved with the game.
If the opportunity arises, would you like to move up from junior and possibly be like, the coach in the ECHL or even the SPHL, something like that?
Yeah, that was the move. That's why I made this move. I was at the AAA youth level. So going to junior and having the what I have to do to run a junior team and coach a junior team would set me more up if I wanted to do a professional level or a higher junior league or a professional team. This is why I made this move, basically. So to further, to try to further my career eventually. So yeah, no, I would love to, if I got to start the SP or East Coast, that might happen, one day. So that's the plan right now. So,
for sure, man.
I always wanted to ask you because, I never asked you the first one, Chris. How was it meeting Chris Nilan?
Oh man, I've been slacking on that. I've been meaning to do a full episode on that to go through like my entire visit. What a trip that was, man.
You went up there and met him, right?
I did. It was, I got to stay at his house. It was funny. It was like, cooking with Nilan is because the man just loves to cook. And I think we only went out to eat like one time. But what a surreal moment, because he turned into my favorite player. There was like, I found out about his career later on, because obviously being born in 96 and growing up, I'm not going to be, who's Chris Nilan. It was until the last Gladiators documentary came out when I got to, really do a deep dive in his career, and I started looking him up, and he turned into my favorite player easily. And he extended that invite to me while I was out in the Marine Corps. And obviously in the Marine Corps, it's kind of hard to say, hey, Staff Sergeant, can I take leave and go to Canada for a week or whatever? So once I got out of the Marines was when I was finally able to get up there and meet him. And it was so much fun. It was nice and cold, because down here in Florida, it's just nothing but hot. So I got a nice break from the warm weather here. And we went to a Habs versus Bruins game at the Bell Center. That was an unreal experience. And dude's just funny. And I know he's coming out with his own podcast now too, because he's not with TSN 690 anymore. So he's coming out with his own podcast. So I can't wait to see what that brings. But meeting Nilan was definitely easily one of the coolest experiences ever. And even right after that, he got me in contact with Andre Waugh, who was my favorite player from the Lightning, because I watched the Lightning growing up. And then 2 days later, after I come home from Montreal, I'm going to Orlando to go have beers with Andre Waugh. So it was like most exciting week for like a fanboy. In that moment. So it was great.
I can remember being a Ranger fan. We were at season tickets back then, so I can remember the Rangers were struggling a little bit. They were getting kind of pushed around, and we traded for Joe Patterson. Rangers got Patterson, and then maybe a week later, we got Nilan. We traded for Chris Nilan, and his first game before Craig Berube. He just kind of changed the tone of the team that year. Next game, I think he fought. He was seemed like he was fighting all the time, and like I said, having season tickets, I'm like, I can remember going down to the glass, getting there early to the game and going for warm-ups and being down behind the glass and not, him skating around. I'm like, this guy he's pretty cool. And, he came in, like I said, he fought Dave Brown and and anybody who had done stuff to the Rangers that year or the year before, he was one by one trying to go after guys. But then I got a chance to get his autograph outside after when I was like probably 16 years old, got his autograph, after the game. He was a pretty cool guy, but, I see him, he's still doing well and, doing the, not always going to get a podcast, but he was doing the commentary of, on one of the radio shows up there for the Canadians. So, yeah, good for him. Yeah, he was one of my favorites. He was a guy that really had a, being an American kid too, and not the biggest guy. So, as he was somebody that you kind of looked up to,
Right.
The guy you thought about when you were getting involved and getting, going in and fighting. He was a guy like somebody you looked up to. It was Nilan for sure for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it was cool. I could go on TSN 690 one time. He invited me on, so I got to nerd out and talk hockey fights on TSN for like half an hour, and that was a whole lot of fun too.
Yep. Yeah. For sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm glad we were finally able to make it happen. You and I were both having scheduling issues. You had hit with COVID, and then I forget what happened with me. I had to take a rain check one night. It felt bad. I hate taking checks. But I'm glad we were able to make it happen, dude.
Definitely, Alex. Thanks, man. Thanks for we got the old jersey on too.
Oh, of course. And you know what? I love it though, because as I mentioned that your fights that there's minimal on YouTube, but the one fight that matters is you're fighting Holiday in this jersey. So I could always
exactly. Yeah.
I love it. They're so ugly.
Yeah.
Like this logo's terrible, but I love it.
Yeah. The old hamburger. The old hamburger.
Put some wear on this thing. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, no, it was stitched up a little bit. Yeah, I remember they opened up the sleeves a little bit for me there and a couple cuts or whatever. You think they'd have two jerseys for you back then, but no, that was it. That's the one. So
that was like early Colonial League days too. That was really
it was before a year before United League. Yeah. It was 96, 97. Yeah, but it was good. I mean, it's good. Like the Thrashers, like Danbury's getting got that whole thing blew up on the Netflix.
Oh yeah, insane.
The United League. So guys, like, you play in that league? I'm like, yeah. I played with I played with Gretzky. Brent was on my team in Nashville. Some of the guys that were still a couple guys in the league still that I played with or against at that time, but. No, they got it. It was pretty cool. That kind of blew up there. So, yeah,
for sure. Whenever my wife and I get a house, I've had a couple guys send me jerseys before, so I'm gonna have those framed up, and I'm gonna put the the podcast art. One thing I love too is that the podcast art I have for your episode from forever ago. That's still your profile picture on Facebook. It kills me every time. I love it.
Oh yes, yeah. I left it on there. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put like whatever podcast art I had for that guy at the time. I'm gonna go back, put it under each jersey. So
I kept it on there. Yeah.
I appreciate you for sending me this, man. You definitely didn't have to do it. It was unreal when I opened it up. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah, like, listen, I appreciate what you do. Like, having the podcast. I mean, Bart's has been a big part of it. Bart's, Pat Barton. I appreciate it. I know, you collected jerseys and you asked about the jersey when we had the podcast. So I figured that, appreciation of what you do and having me on, that, I want you to have it. So
I appreciate it, man. I can't thank you enough for that. But thanks again for coming on, dude. It's been awesome. Like I said, love hearing the coaching stories. It's fun to get a little bit of a change of pace, but still talk some fighting here and there. So it's a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we probably go out, go on hours, but it's you know what? Like I said, I'm glad to see. I mean, you're posting I'm seeing the East Coast League. There's some fights going on, and it's some physical play going on, and I just hope, Rangers got Reeves this year, and he's only fought twice, but it kind of changed the whole. It shows something, like, what I mean? Like a couple weeks ago, we played the Capitals. We beat the Capitals, and Wilson Didn't do a thing, so it really, I wish people understood that that's a big part of the game. And I was shocked. Wilson, I mean, at one point they were losing, Rangers kind of beating up on him late in the game. I'm like, Wilson's got to go. It's got to go. Somebody's got to go Reeves, right? And but I think he didn't, and it just tells you how important that he's been to the Rangers. Reeves, he's contributed a little bit as a fourth liner, but I think his whole presence has, just changed the Rangers game. I mean, Shesterkin's been unbelievable, obviously, but and they have some guys up front having great seasons. But I think Reeves is a big presence, and I believe that role is so important still. And you see, I mean, some of the best teams in the league still have that, right? Calgary's got it, Colorado's got it, the Rangers got it. Like, so some of the teams that are having success have that element still, that toughness, that a guy that, a couple guys that can play that role. So, it's just out of it's entertaining, but it's part of the game. And hopefully it doesn't totally ever go out. It's never going to be the same as it was, but hopefully it stays in the game.
Absolutely. And that's why, I'm fortunate enough to have guys like yourself on the podcast. And because people might look at the podcast like, what is this? And, I promise I'm not just preaching into the clouds here, old man yelling at clouds or whatever, but it's still an important part of hockey. And you still see it, especially in the coast too. Yeah,
no. Yeah. It's there's been some, was a kid from Florida has been fighting a lot there. I think you had him on. You had him on
Blashman. Yeah, he's on. He's on South Carolina now. Yep. Yeah. That's the kid, 22 years old, just taking on monsters. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that video too. Like, a couple fights in the video. The red line at the pregame warm up, going back and forth and stuff. So it's good to have some of that in the game still. It is game within the game. Like. So. Yeah, absolutely, man. I want to give a shout out to my one of the guys that Clark Gillies passed away this year recently. So Clark was, obviously big reason why I played. He was a neighbor of mine on Long Island. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He was a legend, in the game of hockey and locally, obviously. So yeah, Clark was. I can still remember those first memories of him. Like fighting Terry O'Reilly. So those are like kind of the way I kind of grew, we were Ranger fans, but those are the first kind of memories of watching hockey back then was Clark fighting, Bobby Nystrom and Clark Gillies fighting the Bruins and the Flyers and the Rangers. So it was kind of my first memories of for hockey. So rest in peace there, Clark.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it was very unfortunate. I think way too soon. Way too soon.
Yeah, just pretty quick. Yeah, pretty quick. So, but they did they did some nice things here for him at on Long Island at the Islander game. So, but just a legend. So,
absolutely. Well, man, thank you again for taking the time to come onto the podcast. I got to get you in a round table with a couple teammates or something like that, and we can go over some old stories or some shit like that, man. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you get, you got Zerber, get Pete Zerber, Zerbs, Goose. There'll be some. There's been some good stories since we played together, but we can. We'll stick to the ones when we play together. But I'll see those. Hopefully, I see all those guys in April here. We'll have the. I have my jersey over here. Got the our Huntsville. This is from 2012.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's her autism awareness jersey. So pretty cool. We wear those during the game, and we auction them off after the game, and all the money goes to Autism Resource Foundation in Alabama. So it's a great event, and like I said, it's we lost a couple years of COVID, but it's April 1st, so we're going to be down there. Hopefully, all the guys, all the guys that live down there will be there, but hopefully, we got a few of the guys that will come back in town from living in Canada or wherever. So looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you have yourself a great night, man. And we'll definitely do this again for sure. 100%.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, Alec. Take care.